Love and Watches is a podcast for male and female watch lovers alike. Perpetual Girl and Ranch Racer are a watch-crazy wife and husband team bringing you the latest in news, gossip, controversy, and anything else that matters in the world of watches. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, watch peeps. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Love and Watches podcast, the podcast for all watch lovers. I am host number 1, Ranch Racer.
And I'm Perpetual Girl.
And today we have a fun topic that we're going to cover. I'm going to let Perpetual Girl introduce the topic of the day. So I would say, should we jump into wrist checks on this incredibly hot, nasty, humid,
like hot lava?
Yeah, like it's really I mean, we don't normally get humidity up here, but it's like 100 degrees and I think like 40 or 50% humidity, which is crazy. I don't mind the dry heat, but we don't usually get that like our buddy Kaz in Orlando, which is like 100 degrees and 100% humidity.
Yeah, but we're getting some monsoon patterns, they called it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Excuse me.
I don't know what it is, but it's miserable.
Yep.
I don't like it. So we're just hiding inside, and
when we have to,
we get to record a podcast, and it's cool. It's nice and air conditioned in here, so can't complain.
And then we venture out to check on our pets, hose down elderly animals,
and then come back in and shower. And shower 4 times a day.
Might have to fill up that stock tank.
Yeah.
We have a big silver galvanized 8-foot wide stock tank that we fill up with cold water out of the hose, and we dip in that, and that's pretty fun.
It's definitely like I think they call it like the redneck swimming pool. We're actually in the process of a big backyard project to put in a pool, and we just stare at all this rebar and this pit in the backyard and
like
just
Hoover
imagine
Dam.
what it would be like to actually be able to get in the pool. So
yeah, and it is looking like Hoover Dam for sure.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. I don't know. This is our first time we've ever done any kind of like remodeling or improvements of any kind in 20 years of marriage, and I don't know, 3 or 4
We're excited.
homes later, but yeah, it'll be nice to actually finally have that, be able to go jump in and cool down. Yep. So anyway,
well, you started your vacation yesterday.
I did, and it was a last minute thing. Last week, I'm like, because we're in Q4 of our fiscal year where I work, and I'm in sales, and it's always really crazy. And
you've been very busy.
Been super busy, on the road a lot, not posting as many wrist shots as I would like on Instagram. But last week I came home. I said, you know what? I got a bunch of vacation time. I'm just taking next week off. Kind of surprised everybody at work because we're like in the run up to finishing our fiscal year, and I'm like, see ya.
Well,
I'm done.
I'm happy about it. We can have our movie marathons. What should we watch? Some James Bond.
Yeah, it'll
Star
be
Trek,
fun,
maybe?
And some Star Wars, and maybe we'll get the boat out a couple times next week. I have to pull that thing out of storage and change the oil and everything, but that might be fun to go out in the lake for
fishing.
Yeah, we do some fishing in the morning, and that'd be fun. So yes, I have all next week off. Yes. So all right, well, let's enough chit chat. Let's jump into the wrist checks. You think?
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to go first because your wrist check kind of basically leads us into the topic for today. So
I may be rambling for a long time today.
Yeah, so
last week was about you.
Last week, you guys were treated to having to listen to me for most of the podcast, talk about watch terms and a little bit of watch education. Today, it's going to be reversed, and it's going to be a lot about Perpetual Girl. So I'm going to let her introduce the topic after she does her, or during her wrist check. So with that, I'm going to kick it off. So my wrist check today, this watch I've had for a few years. As soon as it came out, I knew I wanted to have one. It's there's a really cool backstory to it. So basically, when you think about the Moon watch, you think about Omega, right? That's the big watch. So that's kind of, when people think about it, it's the Omega. That's it. When you look at Instagram, the hashtag Moonwatch, it's all Omega Speedmaster, which is great. I mean, I've got an Omega Speedmaster with the 1863 movement. So basically the movement that's been in these things for many years that did go to the moon after the 321 movement. But there was another watch that did go to the moon that most people didn't know about until a few years ago when it came out that Dave Scott was selling his personal Bulova that went to the moon. And I don't know the entire backstory. I know quite a bit of it, and I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, a few years ago, Bulova decided to commercialize that. They did a recreation using their high-frequency quartz movement. It does look very similar. It's a 3-register chronograph. It looks very similar to the Speedmaster, and it's just a lot of fun. I love it. So it's got a neat backstory. It's got some history. What else? This is the version 1, so it has the brushed stainless steel case. It's got the date between. It's about at 4:30, right between 4 and 5. It's a big watch. So if you look at the original Speedmaster is 42 millimeters in diameter. This one's 45 across, and I think it's about 53 millimeter lug to lug. It is a big watch, so doesn't work for everyone. That's probably the biggest criticism I see when people are talking about this, or why people don't have it, is that it's just a big watch. So I've got decent sized wrists, so it works on my wrist. But anyway, really fun watch. I love it. I'm a big fan of Bulova. They're starting to get more popular again. They're starting to understand what they need to do to reach back out to watch enthusiasts. One of the big ones that's coming out is their recreation of their Devil Diver. And I actually was fortunate enough to get one of the 30 special editions that Analog Shift is doing with Bulova. So really looking forward to getting that orange dial diver. But anyway, so that's my wrist check today. It's the Bulova. They call it the Lunar Pilot, which is, it's silly.
Well, now they do. It wasn't called that before.
Exactly.
Was there a little bit of a schmozzle?
I think there was.
Using the name.
I think there might have been. I don't know if it was NASA or Omega or both. But apparently Moonwatch is a proprietary term for NASA and Omega. So anyway, this was changed to the Lunar Pilot, but I just call it the Bulova Moonwatch. So anyway, that is my wrist check. Go for it.
Okay. Today I'm wearing a watch that we purchased recently to share, and I've posted online. It's the Blue Dial two-tone Rolex Submariner. And what's the diameter on this? Is it 40?
It's a 40.
It's a 40. And I love it because it's actually one of my Grail watches that we just finally purchased. And
and it's a 07.
It's
2007.
About 12 years old. Yeah. So it's pre-loved.
Yep. And very really, well loved. I mean,
really
it looks basically
condition.
Brand new.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there was a lot of polishing because all the edges are still really sharp. It wasn't worn much.
I don't think this saw the light of day very often.
And it came with the original purchase receipt. That was really neat.
I found the receipt underneath the box that showed the name, address, the date, everything handwritten, MasterCard, etc. It was pretty cute.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, here comes the secretary.
Oh, yeah. You can hear those nails on the wood floor.
So yesterday, and I want to talk about wrist check yesterday as well. I was wearing
Are you done with the bullet or the
not quite.
Rolex? We do share. I actually tried it one day. I think it was last Sunday. I was able to steal it from you and put a few links back in the bracelet, and I wore it. It looks great. And we have some other, I've got the Blue Dial Oyster Perpetual. I love it. It's kind of a fly under the radar Rolex. This one's not so much a fly under the radar.
It's not as humble.
Well, it's the two-tone yellow gold.
Shiny.
It's very much, look at me, I'm a Rolex. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I have to say, as a guy, I was a little self-conscious. I think it works great on you. Women tend to wear more gold and that kind of stuff. And I'll probably wear it again, but I ordered some NATO straps for it. Mm-hmm. And I think that might be a little bit better for me because it was almost a little bit much. But it looks great on you.
But it is really sporty, I think, for men. Like I could see, we don't golf, but I could see a man wearing this to golf with a nice outfit that matched.
Oh, yeah. I could see wearing it with anything. It's a gorgeous, it's a beautiful watch, and I love the look of it. I just felt a little self-conscious wearing it. So I think for me personally with a NATO, I think it's going to be a little bit better.
I agree. And I want to try it with the NATO as well.
Yeah.
So do you want me to explain anything else more about this watch? I'm pretty
That's
sure
up to you.
Listeners know what it looks like, and there's some photos online.
Yeah,
but,
you posted. We both
yeah.
posted it on Instagram.
But loving
It's
it.
a 16613 reference, by the way.
Okay, thank you. So yesterday I was wearing a watch that I've had for a while now, and it's an Invicta Donald Duck Disney commemorative special edition homage to the Submariner, same colors. So it's basically kind of the direct knockoff of the Sub.
Yeah, and you posted a really neat post on Instagram with two wrist shots where
One on each
you were
wrist.
spinning it. Mm-hmm. And you did both of them, and boy, they're very, very
It's pretty
similar.
close. And,
yeah.
of course, there's obvious differences inside. That's, and it's got the solid precious metal links in the real Sub. But I'll tell you, for $90, that Submariner clone is a really fun piece to have because it's, I wore it to Disneyland and didn't have to worry about whacking it on a ride or bumping into something. And yesterday I had it because we were bathing some elderly horses. And
that's why we bought them, right? For Disneyland.
We bought them for Disneyland.
Yeah, that was fun.
But I found myself wearing it a lot. I didn't think I would wear it a lot, but I just fell in love with it. I'm thinking, I know that if someday I was able to get the real thing, I know I'm going to wear it all the time. So at the time, we couldn't afford the Grail watch.
Right.
And that's something that I've been thinking a lot about lately because I have a couple of friends who are newly into collecting watches, and it's made me really sensitive to everybody's, including my own as past experience, but really sensitive to people's financial situations because we don't know what people have to spend their money on or choose to. Some, you have kids, car payments, high mortgage, average mortgage, whatever, or you choose to, invest your money in whatever else, your pets or a hobby, another hobby. But if you're getting into it and you don't have a huge budget for watches, I truly believe that there's something for everybody. And that's kind of where we started, where at the time we were not able to afford our Grail watches, of course. So if you're in love with a specific style, I don't see anything wrong with buying a clone. I mean, the grotesque copies that maybe you get that look like them and they're absolutely counterfeit. That's different.
They put Rolex on the dial and they try to fool you into believing it is an actual Rolex. That's a whole different, different story.
But I really think Invicta makes a great product for that price. I mean, it's got a Seiko NH35.
Yeah, it's a great movement,
and
the quality seems really good to me on the watch in general.
It's excellent.
Yeah,
comfortable, easy to work with as far as the bands and all that, and it's an automatic movement. So I think as someone having gone through it myself and with new friends, and now we're in a media role, technically, I think it's really important to encourage people to buy within their budget and enjoy it. Buy what you love and love what you buy. And I think it's important to not intimidate anybody into thinking, oh, that's, poo-poo. That's an Invicta,
a lot
or that's
of intimidation.
A Timex, or that's there's a lot of, not everybody's going to love everything that I like or that you like or someone else. Everyone's got their own taste. We're all different, but I do see a lot of hating. And I think it's
especially
a really
when it comes
delicate,
to this brand.
I know, and I'm not sure why. I think it's got to just be because
there's a couple reasons.
Imitate.
There's a lot. They specialize in two things: homages, right? And when you say homage, that's basically where you take a classic look like a Submariner, right, or an Omega Speedmaster, or a watch that's got a significant history. The look is well known,
and it's a high end piece.
They're usually from the higher end brands, and for a lot of people, those, from a financial standpoint, are out of reach. So the homage it's a watch that's paying tribute to those. It looks very similar, if not identical, but it's not a clone or a copy in that they're actually putting the other brand's name on it and trying to pass it off as that brand. It's, it's got little subtle differences usually. Like your Donald, when you look at them in the sun, the dial color is very different. It's almost a purplish,
purple, yeah.
right? And obviously yours has, it's a Disney, licensed Disney product, so it's got the
cartoon.
It's got the cartoon on it of Donald, but that's kind of what the homage is. And I don't see any, I have no problem with it. So that's the first thing with Invicta. And then I think the other aspect that a lot of people don't like is some of their watches are just crazy,
they're
over the
there.
top,
yes.
Huge, crazy design. It's not for me, but who am I to say,
right.
Who am I to say that's ugly? If you buy it, you have bad taste. I'm not going to say that.
No.
Hey, look, like you always say, buy what you love and love what you buy. And for me, just seeing someone excited about having a watch, a wristwatch on, that's awesome. I love that. The more people that are in this hobby, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not going to tear down a brand or people that like or buy that brand. That is not my place.
I have some watches that you think are ugly.
Well, they're not to my
Right,
liking,
right.
but if
But
you
I
love
love
them,
them.
I think that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. I mean,
No, exactly.
I think it's fine. But that's why Invicta comes under a lot of fire from so-called serious watch collectors, and I really think it's unfounded.
And there's another term. What is a serious watch collector? Someone who doesn't buy anything under a certain dollar amount, or it's very it's objective. Is it?
It's
subjective or objective?
It's subjective, and I think it's really funny, all the discussion around, well, what's a real watch collector, and are you a watch collector or a watch enthusiast or a hobby? Who cares?
If you like them, wear them.
And there's a lot of opinion out there about, well, you're really not a watch collector unless you're focused on one specific area, and like, say you're trying to get all certain Seiko divers or something, then you're a watch collector. But if you just buy anything, like for us, we don't focus on anything in particular. If I see a watch that I like and I can afford it, I buy it. Period. So it kind of bugs me when someone says, well, then you're not a real watch quote collector. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. I love watches. I want to help other people in the hobby.
We want
whether
to
they're
encourage
new or,
people, not discourage.
Yeah. So call me whatever you want. I really don't care. Doesn't matter. Just because I'm not going to auctions and buying super rare and expensive Paul Newman Daytonas or Pateks or whatever.
It'd be nice to have one.
Well, it'd be fun, but to me that doesn't mean I'm not a collector.
Correct.
And we have, between the two of us, we have over 100 watches. Doesn't mean we're not collectors. And a lot of them are just super basic. I mean, you did a post today where you had like 5 or 6
My lady
cheapy Casios, right? They're great.
I love them. They have a
They're
countdown
totally
timer. Those funny little watches range in price from about $11.50.
Yep.
And my most expensive is $30. My most current, the turquoise with the gold.
Yep.
And that is by far probably, I can't think of another watch that I have that's more functional than that watch for timing garden hoses, soft-boiled eggs, anything you want to time. I mean, that is the easiest watch to use. I mean, they're not my favorite watches, but they have a great function for me.
Yeah.
And let's face it, for some people, an Invicta, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely. If you tell someone like you spend $100 on a watch, they're like, "Are you serious? Why would you do that? You don't even need a watch anymore.
Right.
Why would you spend $100 on a watch?"
So you can buy a lot of really affordable watches for the price of one very high-end watch. Both are equally fun. So it just depends on where you're at. I mean, we grew up in Silicon Valley where you could have a 2-income family and still be broke.
Every single month, you're like living hand to mouth, right?
We $100 for a watch was a lot. When you bought me my little Bulova when we first got married, that was a big deal, and that was a little quartz. So,
well, and we made a decision to get out of that kind of environment, right? Because it was so expensive. So now our lifestyle and our mortgage and all that kind of stuff has put us in a position where we can really enjoy this hobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. I mean, and not everyone can afford some of the watches that we buy. I totally get it. I'm not going to criticize someone because they can't spend thousands of dollars on a watch.
Correct.
Right. And like my Lunar Pilot my Bulova Lunar Pilot that I'm wearing today, it didn't cost me thousands of dollars.
And
It's
that's
such
quartz,
a fun watch.
isn't it?
Well, that's another thing.
Another
this
topic.
is a quartz, and
A lot of people don't like
you'll
quartz.
hear a lot of so-called experts or influencers in the hobby just tear quartz down and say, well, if you're buying quartz, you don't really care about watches. You're not a collector. I think that's a bunch of you-know-what. It's ridiculous.
Well, we talked about that on our previous podcast where there are times where I believe people pay a little bit too much for a quartz. That's a whole different topic. But
well, yeah,
we
you have
both.
to understand
Yeah.
what you're getting, right?
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
A watch that costs $10,000 and has a lot of precious jewels and stuff in it, but a quartz movement, that's a different issue. But if that's what you like, fine, do it. I'm still not going to criticize you for your choice. I might criticize the brands for taking that tactic. I'm not a big fan of it. And we're here to just open everyone's eyes and help you understand what you're buying in that case. But in terms of just kind of your basic affordable quartz watches, there's so many great choices out there. I think they're fun. And just because you're buying quartz watches doesn't mean you're not a serious collector. It doesn't mean you don't love watches, right?
Mm-hmm. You got to start somewhere.
You do, yeah. I mean,
And I think an homage watch is a great start. I was kind of going through my watch box the other day and noticed that I have several watches that look like like the few high-end pieces that we have. I have previous purchases that look almost exactly like them because I have been dreaming of them and couldn't afford it. So you seek out something that you like about that watch. Like, for example, my Omega Speedmaster is the white with the mother of pearl dial.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I bought a Seiko Sportura, which I love and I wear a lot.
Beautiful, really cool
Mother of
looking
pearl
watch.
dial with that one actually has the white center links, the ceramic.
The ceramic, yeah.
So at the time, I had really liked the Formula One Tag watch, Tag Heuer.
Yep.
Except the ladies' watches with that white insert, they're quartz. So
And you wanted a mechanical.
and it was really an expensive watch for a quartz watch in that case. So I got this Seiko and love the mother of pearl dial. And then I also have a Technomarine, which is an Invicta brand, the UF6, which is a pretty popular watch of theirs.
Yeah.
Also a quartz, but mother of pearl dial, white case, white rubber band. And then I lined them all up and they all kind of look similar. And it just kind of shows you that you can achieve a look if you can't afford to buy the real thing.
So now that you have your Omega Speedmaster coaxial, do you not like your other ones anymore?
No, I still like them.
Yeah. And you still wear them.
I still wear them. I may not wear them as much as the high-end watches, but there are times when I don't wear them because if I'm going to be in a situation where I might scratch it, I won't. So I do wear them, but not as often because, you fall in love and you have that little watch honeymoon when you get your new pieces, no matter what they are.
Right.
Like when I got the Seiko 5, my black Seiko 5, which is it's a $60 watch. And I got it because I'd seen so many posts on Instagram from people about the Seiko 5. There's a huge following and everyone loves Seiko. And I'm like, this is a really cool watch. And at the time, I really kind of fell in love with the Tudor Black Bay, the 36.
And the original Rolex Explorer,
and the Rolex
right?
Explorer. That's the Rolex Explorer 1 black dial is actually one of my Grail watches too.
Right.
So since I didn't want to spend the money on that right now, because don't we all have like 5 to 10 watches that we really want that we need
minimum.
to budget for? But I thought, I'm going to get this Seiko 5, and I got the Barton gingerbread leather tan, that kind of sorrel color
Right.
band, and put it on there, and it looks beautiful. And I'm so impressed with that watch for $60. It's got the exhibition back. Have I talked about it on the podcast before? I don't want to bore everybody.
Oh, I don't know, but who cares?
And it's got a day date.
Yeah, it's a fun watch.
The dial is actually really pretty.
Yeah.
And it gave me that look like the Tudor Black Bay, because I'm just not real ready to spend that. I don't know if it's because of the heavy marketing of brand ambassadors.
Tudor has lost me. I'm sorry, but the brand ambassador thing,
a lot of people love
they
Tudor,
have
so
lost me.
we're not bashing them and saying that people who like them are bad, but everybody
Just me personally,
I think just my opinion of it. When I was younger, I loved the celebrity thing, but yeah, I'm almost 50. That kind of thing is just, it doesn't affect me. And I don't even know who a lot of these people are because I'm kind of out of touch when it comes to Hollywood and all that. But I just didn't really want to go there with that. But they do have a lot of nice pieces.
I think Tudor's probably going to be another one that we get on their bad side, because I've made some comments on Instagram.
We're not going to get invited to the parties.
We're not going to get invited to the Tudor parties. But I've definitely made some negative, posted some negative comments in regards to some of their stuff on Instagram with their bad. It's like, sell me the watch.
I agree.
And Tudor, it's funny because Tudor has such a rich history, right? They're owned by Rolex. They were started to kind of offer a more affordable option to the Rolex brand, and a lot of their lines have just this great rich history. But instead of really marketing that history and teaching and selling their products based on the strength of the product alone, they just they spend millions on all this brand ambassador junk, and they think that they're hoping that it's just a bunch of stars. When I think I said something like starstruck lemmings, and I got a bunch of likes on the quote, and Tudor's probably like, okay, we're not gonna invite these guys to our party. Yeah, I don't think they like me much, but hey, and that's my personal opinion. If you want to buy a watch because a famous actor wears it, totally your thing, and I'm not going to rip you personally if you decide to do that, and that's your reason for liking that brand. It's your thing. This is my opinion, and I just don't like the brand ambassador thing. I think it's gone over the top.
And it has nothing to do with the quality of the watch. Just because we are not thrilled with a specific marketing. Oops, your secretary
that's my secretary hitting my mic stand.
I think it's just, I like to see the watch stand for itself.
Yep.
A good example is the 2018 Basel. They released is it 36 millimeter Black Bay?
They've got a 36. They have, I think, a 32. So they're, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, I'm like cheering for Tudor. Like, you guys are making watches in sizes that everyone can enjoy, including women. That 32 is really marketed to women. But then they have
so the ad I saw,
the 36 is too.
I saw an ad. I haven't seen much on Instagram for that smaller women's size, which could actually be worn by the Asian market is a really large purchaser of a smaller watch based on a smaller wrist size. Like, my wrist is 6 1/4?
Yeah,
I'm 6 1/4. So that 32 or whatever the brand new one is, I really want to try that on, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere where we've been. So I see an ad on Instagram, and of course it's this profile of this beautiful woman in a bathing suit, this strappy black bathing suit, and it shows her left wrist with the watch on it, and you can barely even see the watch. It's so small. All you see is her butt.
And that's a total turnoff for you.
And I'm like,
I don't understand.
I mean, don't get me wrong. She's really pretty, but I'm no feminist either. But I don't want to see that. You don't even know it's a watch ad.
Seriously, I know.
I thought it was a bathing suit ad. So I kind of feel like they just alienated a whole bunch of men too, because if a man, a very small framed man, is like, oh wow, this is awesome, I want to check out this watch, they're not even going to think that it's a men's watch because it's being worn by a woman, and they're marketing it to a woman only. Like when we met the manager of Chopard in the shopping center in Las Vegas, we were chit-chatting with her, and there was a watch that she sold to a man, or no, she was going to sell to a man. And then when he saw was it the poster that it said women's watch? He's like, I don't want this watch, because he was all ready to buy the watch. And as soon as it said women on it, or woman,
it just turned him off.
He was so against it. He did not want it to be labeled. So they lost a sale. So I guess Chopard learned a really good lesson. They said they don't do that anymore.
Yep. They stopped doing it.
Yeah. Which is really interesting, but
yeah, it is. I don't know. We're kind of going off in
We went
different
off on a
directions, but
sidebar.
that's okay. I mean, I kind of been wanting to talk about the brand ambassador thing for a while, but kind of back to the whole the Invicta thing and the Invicta hating or whatever you want to call it. Here's something that really makes me laugh. So these same people that will bash Invicta or bash other people or groups of people for buying Invicta, then something like the Timex Marlin comes out, right? And these same guys will also talk negatively about like Chinese movements and stuff. And then the Timex Marlin comes out, which is really small. It's got a very, an inexpensive Chinese movement in it. And these same people go gaga over it because it says Timex on it. Well, so you're not gonna bash this watch that has a cheap Chinese movement that's an homage of an older Timex, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all, and I think it's a cool watch. It's not for me. I wouldn't personally buy it, but why is that okay? But then an Invicta that's a really cool looking diver that happens to look like a Submariner
movement in it, a Seiko movement
with a good Seiko movement. They don't like. I just don't get it. It's like, well, so how do you? Why is that the case? I don't understand. It's like in 1 minute they're bashing homages and they're bashing Chinese movements, and the next minute they're gushing over a watch that has a Chinese movement that's basically a direct copy of an original Timex from the 50s or 60s or whatever. And I don't know. I really have a hard time understanding the thought process there. It's just me.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is if you like it, wear it. And there's a lot of things in lower end, Seiko 5 price range, Vostok price range. You kind of have to be careful of your quality though, too. Because I love my little Vostok that I have, my Scuba Dude.
It's
the blue
totally
Scuba
fun.
Dude. It's turquoise. Yeah. But I tell you, every time I unscrew that crown, I'm like, oh, I don't want to break it.
It's wiggling all over and... But it's kind of funny,
it's
it's
really
still
campy.
a
I
fun
love it.
watch, and they last, right? But it's the quality
very reliable.
To me, the quality's not great, but it's always been that way, and it's just the way they make the watch. So it's not necessarily bad quality. It's just how the watch is.
It's really
manufactured. Interesting. They've been making that same movement for years and years and years, and
that's kind of a Seiko 5. That's like their comparable, sturdy. Go-to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think really the point is that if you like the look of a watch, I don't care whose brand name is on the dial. If you like it, buy it and enjoy it. That's the bottom line is for us, we just want to see more and more people getting into wristwatches and loving wristwatches. I don't really care I don't care if it's a Timex. I don't care if it's a $20,000 Patek or Lange or Breguet. To me, it doesn't matter. If you like something and you're passionate about this hobby, for me, that just is so exciting. And that's what we're all about is we want to help you, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you can afford expensive watches or you can't. To me, it doesn't matter. Right.
Yep. I mean, and as a woman, my age group, I was in a career where it was a male-dominated career, and back then, women were not paid anywhere near what men were being paid, even for comparable jobs. And I have a college degree, and I was still paid less than my counterparts who are men who didn't have a degree. So I kind of get that intimidation thing, and I don't think we should be intimidating other potential watch hobbyists because it's already intimidating enough to try to learn all these things about watches. But I think we're kind of getting back to wearing watches too. I think I see there's sort of over rotation with the whole cell phone culture.
Technology. There's a little bit of a backlash on technology.
Unplugged from each other, and I see it all the time. People's faces are in their phones, and no one's talking to each other, and people are walking into phone poles and trees on the street because they cannot. It's like, put your phone in your pocket and live.
Talk to people, interact with other human beings. To me, it's not social media; it's anti-social media. It's turned us into an anti-social culture.
So I think for me, wearing a watch, I put my phone in my purse and I pull it out if I need it, and it's really kind of taught me to sort of not be so dependent on having looking at your phone to tell the time. I find myself not having to carry my phone around my property or, because I know what time it is.
And I think, a lot of people might get into the hobby out of a dislike for technology and social media, and they're looking for something that maybe grounds them a little bit more in reality and older ways of doing things. Mm-hmm. But, I think the hobby's growing because I think that can help. I think that can help get you away from the technology, and people may buy it just as a fashion piece or as a way to express their individual style. But for me, it's actually become something that has become useful, right? If I wear and use my chronographs all the time. If I need to time something, I'm using my chronograph. I'm not talking to my phone and saying set 10-minute timer or whatever.
Yep.
It's so impersonal. And I'll use my chronograph. I'll use my rotating bezels to time things. Mm-hmm. I use it to my date watches. It's like if I'm writing a check or something, I'm not having to pull my phone out, and I just look at my watch, and I love it. It's really become a useful tool again for me.
I've been using a chronograph to time the brand new stoplight on our street because, it's the talk of the town. We actually got a stoplight on our street out here. The whole neighborhood's talking about it. But, honey, tell the story about when you were at a conference, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but you got to tell the story.
We do our...
And there will be no names to protect the innocent.
I don't even know the names, but we were at our yearly sales conference that my company has in Las Vegas, because that's the conference capital of the world. And, we have this huge rooms is filled with all of, booths from all of the different business units from within my company that sell certain specific types of products. And then we have all of our partners and everything, right? So it's a big trade show type environment.
Correct. It's not just your company. There's a lot of outside
it's partners.
It's from different. So this
this is all of our company. This is our sales conference. So this is just our, there might be some partners there or whatever. But anyway, so I'm at one of our booths talking to the marketing folks for that specific business unit. And this very young, millennial, I don't know what all the generations are on she had to be like 20, 21, looked like maybe an intern or something. And she was there as well, checking out the specific product line. And I don't know I think her phone may have died. So she turned to me, she goes, "Oh, what time is it?" And I just picked up my wrist and showed her my analog, mechanical watch that I happen to be wearing. And she looks at me and she goes, I don't know. What is that? I don't know how to tell that time. And I think my jaw probably dropped. And I looked at the marketing person, who was younger than me still, but older than her. And he looked at me and his eyes got wide. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe. I said, wait, you don't know how to read can you read a clock? She goes, no, I just look at my phone. And I just got...
It's so sad.
So I sat there and proceeded to try to teach this 20-year-old how to tell time. And she was totally not interested. She was getting frustrated with me because she just wanted me to tell her the time, and I wouldn't tell her the time. And finally, I, by kind of going through and telling her how the minute hand works and the hour hand and all that stuff, she started to understand. But then, maybe 6 months later, I read that in the UK, they are taking traditional analog wall clocks off the walls in schools because supposedly it stresses the students out too much to tell time that way. Really? Mm. Is that where we're at now, where we can't stress kids out? It's too stressful to have an analog clock on the wall. I got to be careful. I'm going to get on my soapbox here, but it just drives me crazy.
It's sad. I think it's
very sad. I mean,
it's not like they're sundials.
Right, exactly. I mean,
which are equally cool, and I have a ring that's a sundial, and I love it.
We're talking about putting some sort of a sundial in the backyard. Yeah, I think it'd be really neat. But yeah, it was funny, but really sad and depressing at the same time. Between that experience that I had and then reading about the UK deciding they're gonna, they can't stress their students out, really.
Especially coming from somebody who's in such a fascinating high-tech career, who's obviously intelligent.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
I was kind of shocked.
it tends to be kind of tough to get a job at the company I work for. We're pretty particular, and we do hire. I think personally, we hire the best of the best. Not that I'm the best of the best. Maybe I got lucky 12 years ago. But
to me, you're the best of the best.
Oh, thanks, hon. That means a lot. But anyway, that was kind of depressing, and I hope things kind of turn around. I'm really disappointed in the United Kingdom for making this decision. I think it's the wrong decision. I don't think there's anything wrong with kids learning how to tell basics of how to tell time. You know, for our friends that have kids, we frequently, like my sister or our other friends that have children, we like to buy them the learning watches that tell them, instruct the kid on how to tell time. I think it's a lot of fun. One of the writers for the wristwatch review that I work with, he posted on Instagram, you know, his daughter's watch, the learning watch. I love that. It's like, I think there's some basic foundational things that help a child's mind and brain grow, right? And help that child learn. And I think the basics of telling time should never be ignored. I don't care how much technology we have. I think for me, there's some basics that have to be.
And it's a rite of passage, I believe. And my first watch, yours was a Timex, mine was Snoopy, and I actually have a couple of my childhood watches. We have them. And watches have always been a rite of passage, like as a gift. I have my Seiko from high school that I still have the actual watch, or we need to repair it. But they've been gifts for, you know, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Pocket watches, special occasions, engraved, weddings, college graduations.
Yep. Yeah. No, watches are fun. We love them. I don't like the intimidation. If you can't afford an expensive watch, or people on Instagram or whatever other anti-social media are bashing on a specific watch because it's cheap or because they don't like it personally, don't be intimidated. I think that's a big piece of this, right? And we talk about bullying and stuff in this day and age, and I think there is some bullying in this hobby where, you know, these folks that are supposed to be industry experts will bash on a watch or a group of people that like a watch.
Or generalize saying this is the best.
Don't let them intimidate you. Yeah, we are all opinion. All of us that are podcasters or influencers, that's a big term these days, or bloggers. When you read about when we do a watch review or talk about a watch on a podcast, there is a lot of opinion. I mean, we try to, in our reviews, obviously we're going to give you facts, and we try to be as unbiased as we possibly can. But if we like a watch, we're going to say we like it. If we don't like it, we're going to say we don't like it. We're going to tell you why.
But we're not going to say we don't like it, so it's bad.
It's bad and you shouldn't buy it. We won't say that.
Or this one is the best one. Just
Yep.
because someone personally likes something. Like before we bought the Santos Cartier, I read so much about it from different point of views and all the other women's watches before I settled on the men's medium new one. And it's just so funny to see what people say, because just because you don't like something, that doesn't mean that it is a thumbs down for everybody. Like this one's the best one, that one's the worst one. It's like, well, maybe I really like that one.
There is no best or worst. It's your taste and it's what you like. And unfortunately, there is going to be that element that tells you what you should be buying or what's the best and what's not.
What is good.
Don't listen to them, and don't let them intimidate you. That's stupid. It's just dumb.
As a matter of fact, there's a kid's Swatch watch. It's a learning watch that I'd really like to buy for myself. And it has a nautical theme.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's got little anchors and some fish and
totally just fun.
It's so cute. And I thought, how fun would that be to take, you know, swimming and camping on the lake when it's nautical?
Yeah.
I have to check it out and see what the wrist circumference is on that watch, because it's funny. Adorable.
Yeah.
So who cares if it's a kid's watch? I have a lot of men's watches. I love them. And then now we're going to get back into that whole topic of putting people in a pigeonhole and saying you can only do this because you're a woman. Yep. And you can't have a men's watch because you're a woman and you get diamonds and rose gold.
Right, yeah.
Just because I don't like a certain thing doesn't mean that it's not good.
Well, and we've talked about our likes and dislikes. We had an episode where we talked about materials, and we personally are not huge fans of rose gold. You do have a couple of rose gold pieces.
Correct. We both do.
I have a fossil that's rose gold.
Yeah.
I still personally don't like it, but just because we say we don't like it, don't take that as we're telling you not to go buy rose gold. If you see a watch that you like that's rose gold, by all means, go buy it. And I'm not going to criticize you for it. I just think it's great that you're buying watches, right? So, and I didn't criticize, but I said I'm not a fan of bronze, and then I went out and bought a bronze watch, and I'll probably be cleaning it a lot because I'm not a fan of the patina. I like my watches to look new, but just because we say we don't like something, we'll do our best to give you our reasons for why we don't like it, or why we think it might be just a passing fad. Like that was kind of our focus on rose gold in that particular instance.
It comes and goes, and it has over the years. That's
buy what you want. Don't let us tell you what to buy, right? And don't let other bloggers and influencers tell you what to buy. You like something, buy it and enjoy it and be proud of it. I think that's really the bottom line, right? That's what we're trying to get to.
And learn.
Yep.
Learn about it. Compared to a lot of the people doing what we're doing now, I don't know very much, but there are some things that I'm, pretty comfortable with as far as like the difference between certain things like quartz versus automatic versus hand wind. And the best thing you can do is just learn and ask questions.
We're not experts, and we probably never will be experts. There are people that have been doing this for a lot longer than we have. And I think in some cases, the line between opinion and fact and reality has blurred, and they almost get into this mode where they believe their opinion is fact. And that's something that you just have to be aware of. And it's not that they're bad people, right? It's not that at all. And that's not what we're saying. We're just telling you to keep that in mind, and just because someone says that's bad, you shouldn't buy it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. And just because a new watch comes out from a brand that's well known and has a huge fan community and everyone goes gaga over it, doesn't mean don't be sucked into that. If it's really not your style, don't try to tell yourself everyone likes this, so I need to like it. That's a dangerous trap to get into, for
peer
sure.
pressure.
Totally. I mean, some of the watches that came out in Basel this year that people just went nuts over. And that's fine. If they like it and they want to buy it, that's great. But just because they do that, just try to be true to yourself and step back. Don't get caught up in that. Step back and say, do I really like this? Is this a watch that I would have bought if no one paid attention to it, right? That's the best way to make that decision.
I think ideally for some people, they've grown up very blessed financially and have always been able to purchase a really nice high-end watch without having gone through the starving student, broke in Silicon Valley kind of a thing that we've dealt with,
right?
Where they didn't have to budget and buy a Seiko 5 or some of the watches that you and I collect that are in a budget because they've had the money. So they've been able to purchase right off the bat the nice watch. So they're able to say, these are bad. These cheap watches are bad because they've never had to experience buying them. So I think they've missed out.
And it's a lack of knowledge. It's a
lack of knowledge, but I think they're kind of missing out on kind of a fun part of it where
the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is fun to be able to grow and start small and then get to a point where you can finally buy some of those Grail watches. And I think people that don't go through that growth, I think they're missing out, right? And I think they tend to give bad advice to people and just, yeah.
It's like anything. You and I lived in a 1-bedroom, 700 square foot place on the train tracks for 5 years when we were newlyweds, and we loved it because we were together and we enjoyed it. And look back now, and it really makes you appreciate what you have. So, I don't know. I think that's all I've been rambling, but I think that's about all I have on it.
That's okay. I think people enjoy listening to you more, and I would enjoy listening to you more.
No.
You have a lot more followers on Facebook or on Instagram too.
I just reached 600.
Cool. Yeah, thank you everybody for following us and for following Love and Watches. We really appreciate it. It's slow growth, especially with the Love and Watches.
Yeah, I think it's organic though.
It is organic. We're not, it's mostly just all word of mouth. And I think, for me, I'm just another one of the thousands of dudes out there posting wrist shots. You are a female collector, and I think that tends to attract, it attracts everybody, female collectors, but it also attracts a lot of male collectors who are like, whoa, there's a woman collecting. That's really cool. So you've skyrocketed. You started your account after me. You're more than double the followers.
It's kind of like women who like cars, or women who like guns, or women who like
but I think it's cool.
Motorcycles.
I think it's great, and we really appreciate all you guys. We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the follows and the comments. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll do my standard. Please rate us. Let us know what you think. We need to have that feedback. It helps. It helps get the podcast out to more people, and it just helps us. I've said it before, but it helps us tailor the show, and we like to know what you guys want to hear and what you like, and so please give us that feedback. Feel free to email us if you go to loveandwatches.com, the about section. You can fill out the form there, or
even message us on Instagram.
DM us on Instagram.
I actually got a message from a gentleman who asked us to remind everyone what our wrist circumferences are, because when we're talking about a specific watch, it really gives you an idea of what the size is in relationship. Like I'm a 6 1/4, I think, and you are. I'm
like just shy of 7.5. I'm like 7 7/16 type of thing.
Yeah, you have just a really large. You've got a pretty large frame.
Yeah, and my wrist is decent size. There's guys that have 8 inches and larger on their wrist size, but so that's my wrist size. Call it 7.5 to make it easy. You're about 6 1/4. Mm-hmm. You're between 6 1/4 and 6.5, I think. Like 6 3/8. Yeah. So that is our wrist size for. I don't remember who that was that asked, but. Anyway, yeah, I think this is another long one.
I know.
I didn't think we'd have this much to talk about because we don't have a lot of notes. We kind of just freestyled it.
I got really inspired because I have 2 very sweet girlfriends who I gifted Seiko 5s to.
And you sucked them in. And now they're like, oh, thanks a lot.
My one friend said, this is the first nice watch I've ever had. And I thought that was so sweet.
Yeah.
And so glad that she loved it. And my other friend is so hooked now. Now she's learning and
it can connect you to people. I mean, our contractor did our roof, and this can be doing a lot of stuff. We found out he's a watch guy. He's got an older Grand Seiko, and he loves G-Shocks. He loves Richard Mille. He loves G-Shocks are a big thing. He wears a G-Shock when he's working, and we were out chatting about it, and it upped our relationship. It gave us like that new connection that wasn't just customer and contractor. It was, watch buddies, which I thought was really cool because it's hard to meet people that like watches.
Yeah.
And then he started talking about, he's like, yeah, but this one's kind of big. They're really big. I really just wanted to get like the basic black G-Shock. And I said, hold on. And I ran inside and I grabbed my basic. I think I spent $20 on it on Amazon or something. It's the basic black square G-Shock. Mm-hmm. Totally classic look.
You wanted to be part of the club.
I handed it to him. I handed him the box. I said, there you go. And it made me feel good. Fun. He was totally appreciative. He loved it and he wears it. And I think, and I'll do that. I'll do that a lot of the time if someone says they like a watch, and I'm not going to give away my Rolexes, but if it's if it's one that I've enjoyed, but it would bring someone into the hobby or increase their love of watches, I'll do that in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Totally. I have no problem with that.
It's really fun to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are close to an hour. I think we should wrap. So I've already asked you all to review us and go check out the watch, the Love and Watches website. We're going to be posting some reviews there pretty soon. We haven't had a lot. Usually it's just the podcast posts, but we're going to start doing more reviews. We've got a couple in. We've got the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical that Perpetual Girl is going to be reviewing and giving you kind of the ladies' perspective on our website. We've got some that from Philip Stein that we've had in, and that's going to be an interesting new type of review where it's going to basically be a discussion between the two of us. So that should be fun. So yeah, definitely check out the website. Follow at Love and Watches for updates on when we release podcasts. Follow me at Ranch Racer and you at Perpetual Girl. And I think that's about it. Anything else?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
Good.
Well, guys, thank you very much. We appreciate you listening. Thanks for joining us for podcast number 8.
And remember, buy what you love and love what you buy.
Darn right. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.